Well, hello. I'd like to welcome everyone to a video from the British Championships Round 1. I'm going to be trying to do this every day when I get a chance. And I'm basically going to pick a game of the day which I thought was either a very interesting game, or one player played very well, or generally a bit of a shock result. I'll just have a little chat about the British. It's the first time in 20 years I haven't played, unfortunately. I was down to play, but I couldn't get there in the end, and various bits and bobs else going on, which is a real shame because I do love the British, and I know Laura Barnes has done a great job of arranging everything up in North Shields this time around. So it's pity not to be there, but on the plus side, that does mean I can sit around and watch the games on my computer, which is going to be fun for me to have the back seat, like put it on the TV. I can just chill out and watch the games, and that's what I've been doing so far. I had a little look at yesterday's games, and one game that really struck me as a very good game was the game played between James Holland, a young English player, and Houska. Now, James is 2200 rated, Jovanka's over 2400, but what impressed me most about this game was really the Carpovian style that James employed, and this is especially good from a young player. He really just seemed to outplay Jovanka in what should be a position that Jovanka's more familiar with. So, very impressive positional play from James, and we're just going to go over the game reasonably quickly and look at some of the key points. But well done, James. If you keep playing like that, you've got a good chance of getting an international master norm, so best of luck to you. My predictions to win the tournament, well, we'll just have a quick chat about them. I mean, Gwain's a good friend of mine, and I think he's going to be extremely hard to stop because he's playing very good chess. He's a great tactician, but he's also now very good at other areas of the game. I mean, he's a brilliant endgame player. His positional play has improved drastically. He's also a very practical player. He plays very quickly. Unlike David Howell, who plays a bit sluggish at times, Gwain plays with a lot of speed, so he's always up on the clock, putting his opponents under a lot of pressure. So I think that will really help him out here as well. So I think Gwain's going to have to be up there. Other people, well, Jonathan Hawkins is a real contender as well, I think. I mean, we can't forget about this player who constantly does well at the British, very good theoretically, and very good at other things as well. So very good player. And we're going to have to, I'm actually doing this video from a shop, so we're going to have to, I'm going to have to sort of break up here and come back in a minute, I'm afraid. So just while I let someone in the shop, I've actually got my assistant here, Blair, who's going to explain the shop is closed for 10 minutes. Aren't you, Blair? Thanks, Blair. In the shop. So we're going to do that, and so you have to excuse any disruptions. I mean, it's probably one of the only shops that doesn't want customers in for the next sort of 10 minutes. So anyway, Blair, who was that? Just so people at home can know. Was that a boy and his dad?
One of your budding young apprentices.
Oh, right, okay, so, okay, was he okay?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, okay, right, so let's get on with the game in hand. So James Holland was white, and it was a semi-Slav here, and now James played the sharpest move, bishop to g5, and this is the line that I play as well. Now, generally, black either takes on c4 here, which is the semi-Slav and Bovnik system after e4, extremely sharp. Or after bishop g5, the other move is h6, which white has now two choices. Bishop h4, very sharp line again, or bishop takes f6, which is the Moscow variation where white aims for a slight advantage. So after bishop g5, Jovanka now played bishop to e7, and I don't really think this is one of the better moves in the position. It's obviously not a mistake, but it's not a great move. And now the phone goes. Wow, so much fun doing videos from a shop. And after bishop to e7, we now had e3 played by James, which is a perfectly fine move. h6, bishop h4, and now black castled. And here white played bishop to d3. Now, I've actually had this position before with the white pieces against Sveshnikov, a very strong player, and I picked a plan that also Kasparov played in this position, would do with queen to c2 and queenside castling, and this is quite an interesting plan. For example, after queen c2, let's say knight b d7, castles queenside, and white generally wants to push this g-pawn up the board, something like g4, g5, and this can get a good attack. And this leaves a very sharp attacking positions, but the move played by James, there's nothing wrong with it at all. Bishop to d3, because this just aims for a positional advantage rather than a tactical one. Now that white has actually moved the bishop, black takes on d4, so actually saving the tempo. White takes back on c4, my apologies, and now the knight comes to d7. Black's main push in this position is something like c5. Black's got to try to break out some c5 or b5 ideas. On the other hand, white will try to sometimes use the centre, so e4 is an option, or even pawn to a4 is another option here. So after knight b7, white castled, b5, bishop d3. There's a couple of places where that bishop can move to. d3 is fine. This diagonal along here is very useful because white can try bishop c2, queen d3 and some checkmate ideas. It keeps the pressure on the b5 pawn, and it's basically good to keep the bishop in the middle of the board. Bishop b7, and what black would like to play here, I mean, when you're playing chess you always think of your opponent's plans, and black's main plan in this kind of Slav position is to play a6, guarding the b pawn, and then c5. And generally, if black can get this plan of a6 and c5 in, black will be doing fine, because the bishop on b7 comes to life. But just have a look how bad this bishop on b7 becomes. This bishop on b7 becomes a horrible piece later on in the game, because black is not able to play c5. So black's whole plan is really around playing c5. So I think white's next move is a very good move, pawn to a3. Now, this is a move that Karpov has played as well in the same position with white, and the idea is to play b4 at the right moment, stopping c5 forever, and clamping down on black's queen side. So a very nice move, a3. And here I actually think Ivanka played what I consider a mistake, pawn to a5. I don't like this move because now it's very hard to ever achieve the c5 break. I think black should have tried to, I don't know, I mean, it's actually even now a little bit hard to suggest a move, but black still has to try to arrange this idea of playing a6 and c5. Maybe when white does play b4, black can play a5 then, attacking the pawn, but after a5, now this bishop's going to be horrible for the rest of the game. And we're going to see how James nicely takes advantage of this. Rook c1, pressure on c4, rook to e8, and now another very nice positional move. If you have an advantage, keep things simple, there's no point in complicating matters. Bishop takes f6. I think this is definitely a good exclamation mark move. Simplifying the position, and after knight takes, knight to e4. And now, this clamp on the queen side is well, it's very difficult for black now, and we have pressure on the c line, and the c6 pawn is weak. White has a nice advantage, and the way that white continued this advantage, very impressive. So let's have a look. Queen b6, knight to e5. This knight's very useful. Now a threat of knight takes f6, knight d7 comes in, rook to d8 to stop that idea. Queen c2, perfectly respectable move, ganging up on the c file. b4, knight to c5, so clamping down on the c5 square, and a mass exchange now happens. I mean, Ivanka kind of, first round is always a difficult affair. It's very easy to get caught up or play badly in the first round. I expect Ivanka is going to get back into this tournament, but in this game she didn't really shine. But maybe that's also to do with James's good play here. I mean, this is a dominating position that white now has for a number of reasons. The bishop on b7, very bad. Pawn on c6, extremely weak. White has pressure along the c file. Knight on e5, very good piece. So in general, white has a lovely position here. And after rook d5, white now played rook to c1, rook d8, f4, ensuring this knight stays on the e5 square, g5, g3, shoring things up, king g7. Black doesn't really have a good plan here. King f2, white's in no rush, rook takes c5, rook takes c5, rook d5, and now another good move. When you're trying to exploit advantages, it's often a good idea to keep pieces on the board, because the more exchanges you make, the more difficult it is to exploit your advantage. So here, white's played rook to c1, now c6 is a threat, so rook d6. White creates another weakness on b4, and now the rook comes to a1, so it swings around the angles, rook to a1, and white has a very nice, probably winning position here, but still but basically, Black never really had a chance in this game. This is what I liked about White's play. I mean, it's very smooth performance. If you had thought, just looked at the game without knowing the players, you'd always think that White was a stronger player here, because White's kind of demonstrated a better positional understanding from the opening through the middle game into the ending. So knight to d7. Again, exchange of pieces might make Black's defence easier. So knight to c4, rook d5, rook a7. This bishop is awful. Bishop c8, and now bishop to e4. And well, Black's losing material and losing the game. If rook to b5 here, then White can just play knight to d6, or bishop takes c6. Either one, they're both going to be winning. So after knight to f6, White wins the exchange, and this is a simple technical win now. I'll just show you how the game finished. Ivanka played on for a bit, but okay, there goes another pawn. There goes another pawn. Okay, well, simple technique now, and yes. Ivanka decided to resign here, and I expect she wasn't too pleased. So let's just go over some key points in that game. To start with, I think the first key point is when we had this position, this kind of typical position in after bishop b7, and James played this very nice Karpovian move of a3, with an idea of going b4 later on, clamping on the queen side. Maybe by this stage Black's already gone wrong. And then another very nice move in this position, White now took on f6. I think this is a very nice positional move, simplifying matters, just no need to risk things, clamping down on c-file. And then I think another important moment, White got control of this position, and then when the pieces start to come off around here, White, instead of taking on d5, which would be a horrible error, keeping the rook on the board, which keeps good play. So very smooth game from James, very nice game. A good way to start the British for James, and be interesting to see how it gets on in the rest of the games. We've got some very interesting round 2 games going on, and I'll try to do an update on that game at a later stage. So please feel free to leave your comments. I'll try to get this video up on YouTube when I've worked out how to, but hopefully you can all see it at home. Well, obviously you can because you're listening to me. So, okay, good stuff, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers, bye.